All right, what are we working on today? We're gonna look at some job tasks. These go all the way back. I don't know. These go back a few weeks actually, probably to maybe Unit 2, where I had you go. Maybe it was Unit 1. I made you go grab jobs in the Linux Systems Administration course. So we're just gonna keep working on some job tasks and try to find some stuff out. And other than that, maybe just sit around and we could go through some things that you need to do as an engineer and administrator to be more ready for the tasks that you might run into. And then other than that, we'll probably just kind of hang out and do a little bit of Linux. I got all the systems up. We should probably check the home lab out, make sure that the lab's working for everybody. That would be a good thing to do. I haven't been in that lab for a while. And then, then we'll go from there. So I am not working too hard, as you can see there. I'm also just getting over, oh man, it's been a while, kind of not doing too good. So let's go look at some stuff here. So this last job that we had looked at had to do with a fair amount of job capabilities. They wanted you to be able to manage the cloud, which cloud, how do we connect, and then what type of access do we have, that kind of stuff. They want you to have the ability to do endless security improvements. So you got to understand security is a never-ending process, right? Continually hardening the baseline. You probably have to interact pretty regularly, if I had to guess on this one. Probably interact with the governance risk and compliance team, right? So that's your governance, risk, and compliance team, right? Hey, Tamara, how's it going? I'm feeling a little better. I wouldn't say I'm feeling 100% yet, but I'm feeling a little better. I'm not feverish and I'm not like coughing and snotting all through the night anymore. But as far as like, sorry, I just had to yawn. But as far as like the being 100%, I'm definitely nowhere near 100% yet. They want you to improve automation tools, understand Bash, Python, Perl, Ansible. That's what a lot of the automation type tools are out in the industry. So they want you to be able to improve scripting and then know your technical, or be able to provide technical support as needed. Then they had some must-have skills here. They want you to have some Ubuntu or Debian server skills, right? So let's say we were just in a generic Ubuntu server, which, by the way, is what happens if you go into Killer Coda. And for you guys that don't know, Killer Coda is a completely free site that will just drop you down into a shell where you can do whatever you want. And we're going to do whatever we want, and we're just going to move all that crap out of the way and say, okay, we're in a system. I can see the name and the information about the system. I can see the kernel version. Okay, that's good. So system checkout. I can see how healthy the system kind of is. System CTL. Somebody said I can just do failed like that. I'm used to doing list units. State equals. So I guess that other one's a little easier. But it'll tell us, what's failed in the system. We could go and see how healthy. So system checkout, system version, maybe some system networking. Right? Like what's the networking looking like on this system? It's pretty interesting. I see immediately that we've got a normal interface that's up, but then we also have some flannel and calico, and those immediately, just by looking at them, indicate to me that we're dealing with some type of containerization. Also the Docker 0 being up as well. I would very, very quickly think that I probably had something else going on the server. And then I may do something like we happen to use Podman in this environment, so Podman PS and Podman images to see if there's anything there. I might do CRI CTL PS to see, oh, we do have things running in here, right? So that's cry control, or cry cuddle as people say it. And I would see that, and then I would go, well, that definitely looks like Kubernetes. Or another way I could have seen that it was Kubernetes was ss-ntulp, right? And then I would have seen here that there's some things that look like Kubernetes on here: kube proxy, kube scheduler, kube controller. So there's some things that kind of give me some indicators of names that are likely going to be problematic, or indicators for me that we are doing something like Kubernetes. And then, there it is. That's the one. That's the main one that lets you know you're running Kubernetes. If kubelet is there, you are probably kubectl git nodes in some type of system that is using Kubernetes. How's it going, Nick Hill, over on the YouTube side? Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. We're not working too hard, but we're just kind of looking at, if somebody's asking you to have Ubuntu Debian servers experience, you want to know how to do these things, right? How do we know that the server is or isn't doing the things that we, kind of expect? They want you to know Nginx, and this is interesting. This is a web server, right? Lightweight. A lot of times people tell you they want Nginx, but they really want it as a reverse proxy or a load balancer is typically how they want you to run it. They can do forward proxies through it as well if you really want to go that route. That would a lot of times be if you had a bunch of machines that you needed to connect. You needed them to connect over and like pull their updates from somewhere, but you didn't need them to know. RNX, you asked, can I still follow the sysadmin course? Yeah, you can. I'm going to tell you guys you can always do it. The course is going to be here in our YouTube. It's going to be over here in our Discord. If you go to our Discord and you go down to the ProLUG project section, you'll find all the pieces, so you can do it. You will find yourself 9 weeks behind with about 6 to 8 hours a week worth of material that you have to go through to catch up. So if you do want to try to catch up, there's a significant amount of work. If you want to watch all the old videos for it, they're all here. So if you go to this little YouTube course, we've got 9 of the 16 weeks recorded. We'll be doing 10 this weekend on Saturday. I will record it on Sunday, though, but we'll meet live here on the server. By the way, we have a significant amount of events coming up. We've got study groups. You can just go hang out with people and study. There's, you can just hit that you're interested in these. Even if you don't end up going, it still will alert you when they start. This course, it got reset 2 weeks ago, but we were up to 208 people. We're back up to 46 people, but it still kind of makes me mad that Discord wiped it. And then we're planning a New Year event. If you guys have been around for any of our events, we did a really big one in August. It spanned 2 days, and we had 8 or 9, I think we had 9 public speakers come out and talk to you guys about different stuff. Some of those actually got recorded and made it up to YouTube. People really responded well to those. People really liked those. So that's something to think about. I don't know who's coming to talk to that one yet. I haven't talked to all the guys yet. But it will be professionals and people that are out there doing this stuff and what they see. I have put it out there on LinkedIn for people that want to come and talk like recruiters. Like, it's super funny, man. Like, I actually kind of hate this about social media. If you go on LinkedIn, well, if you're me on LinkedIn, and I imagine this is true of most people, I get like 4 or 5 recruiters a day that just want to be my buddy. They just want to connect, and I'm like, look, man, like, I don't connect to them anymore, but I'm just like, I don't need 5,000 or 10,000 friends on here. Like, I don't need that. I have friends in real life, and then I have you guys too. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, my point is, like, what I want from them, what I challenged was, if you guys always want to connect and talk, why don't you guys come talk to this group? and we'll see if anybody takes me up on the offer to come and talk. So I want people to come and tell you guys about the job skills that they're looking for and what kind of openings they actually have now in the tech space. So, all these recruiters always want to talk and post shit, but then when you say something or ask them about it, they just ignore you like it was like they were just posting it for work. That's fine, but like I'm giving you the opportunity. Typically, like this only says 8 people right now. These typically have hundreds of people at them throughout the day. Some of you guys that came to August saw how many people we had. It was a lot. It was a lot throughout the day. Different groups and people coming in. All the groups were averaging like over 40 people. So it was pretty good. Like if you wanted to reach people that were skilled or trying to be skilled in an area, that would be a thing that I would think people would come and talk to. But no, I can't make them come and talk. So, all right. So, anyways, that's the You can catch up with the course, but it's going to be a lot of work. But of course, you could just do the course for fun too. Nobody has to do the course to complete it for the actual award. There is an award for people that finish it. But for people that just want to do it just to do it for fun and to learn something, it's going to always be up here. I'm not going to take it down off our Discord, so it'll be here. I might clean it up and consolidate it one day, but I'm definitely cleaning it up as I go. But yeah, we're going to keep cleaning up. Also, I might start working on Unit 10 tonight, depending on what we do. And just kind of how much I want to talk here tonight, so... and then we have, as you join, if you do join our Discord, the bot will welcome you heartily and typically in a mean Unix fashion. So let's go look at this real quick. So Nginx, how might we run and play with Nginx if we knew that we had, if we knew that we had Kubernetes? Well, we can just run the latest version of Nginx anytime we want. We can say kubectl, create deployment image equals Nginx. We can just do it literally just like that. And then replicas equal, 3. And create deployment. Oh, yeah, I got to give it a name. Let's call it Nginx. That's fine. And then it'll create it, right? kubectl get deployment Nginx. You'll see that he's slowly coming up and grabbing his containers. kubectl get pods. kubectl describe one of these pods to see how it actually was created. Whoops, pod. Oh, this is the so here's what it pulled. It pulled the image Nginx down to the system, and it pulled it in this amount of time, and then we should be able to see that it started that container Nginx, right? So now, if that's all there, and if we wanted to, verify that that was working, kubectl get pods -o wide, and then now I should be able to curl 192.168.1.5, and I should be able to see my Nginx page, or 1.4, or 1.6. There's my 3 different pods, my 3 different pods via their IP addresses, and that's fun. But what we could do is we could expose that and put a service in front of it, and then the service would be something that we can just hit by name through DNS, right? Yeah, tomorrow. There's a special guest coming on Saturday. It's my brother John. He is my younger brother. He is an engineer with a big insurance company. He's going to come and talk to you guys about his time with, let's see, what has he done over there? He's done Linux. He's done like the hardware virtualization team. He's come back to Linux, and then he went over to like the middleware team to do OpenShift, and he ran all of OpenShift. And then right now I think he's kind of doing middleware and still doing a lot of that OpenShift stuff. So yeah, he's coming to talk to you guys. He showed me the presentation the other day. I think you guys are going to like his presentation. I think you guys are going to like him. If I'm, hey, how's it going, Austin? How's it going? If I'm the guy who's like more out of touch and like, let's say, less approachable, like, because it's I could see somebody saying, well, Scott, I don't agree with you Like, you say you can do it without a degree, but you have 2 master's degrees, so would you know about it? And I would say, well, if that would make me unapproachable, and being a college professor for 16 years now, my brother has a GED, and he actually made it. He was, when I was still at AAA as a infrastructure engineer 5, he was promoted to an infrastructure engineer 6. So you could argue that he surpassed me without a degree at all. So um, that's something to think about, right? And he is the highest level of engineer they have before they force you to go be an architect. So my brother's coming to talk to you guys. He'll be, if you ever go to a Discord, you always have, it's in the top left here, and if you're on your phone, it's in the top right. So if you're on your phone, it's in the top right. And he's coming to talk to the 16-week group this Saturday. So I'm going to do an hour talking about Kubernetes. Specifically, we're going to use K3s in the home lab environment, and then and just deploy things, deploy some of the stuff that we build, deploy and test some just whatever stuff we want to deploy and test, and then we'll be good with that. So, anyways, he's coming. He's coming Saturday. He'll be there. And also, if you ever look at Discord, it'll show it in your time. So you don't, like, people ask me like, "Hey, what time is it?" And I'm like, "Well, it's in your time, but for me, it's 3 p.m. I think for my brother, it's 2 p.m., but he doesn't have to be there for the first hour because he takes over after I talk for an hour. So, yeah, so Nginx, right? They need you to know that. And then they want you to understand a little bit about security best practices, which is firewalls and web application firewalls. So they want you to understand the security best practices. So firewalls, generally speaking, are going to be network based, and they are going to be layer 3, 4 typically. And there are other ones, but typically when they talk firewalls like this, or they're host based, and they are layer, typically on a host, they're layer 3, 4 as well. And then that is, what does that kind of mean? It means ports and IPs. So ports are your mapping of layer 4. They are going to be your TCP or UDP 0 to 65,535, but 0 to 65,534 is really as high as they go. You can't use the last one. So, and then IPs, any source addresses typically, or source ranges can be blocked as well. Web application firewalls tend to be operating at all the way up to layer 7, and they can operate lower, but they tend not to. They tend to really focus on layer 7 and do that well. So they're blocking things typically like headers, malformed requests, let's say headers, malformed requests. What other things do they do? Web application firewalls will look for SQL injections, API auth attacks. They look at all these kind of things. The Pain said, "May I ask another question?" You can ask another question. That was one question, and then now you're welcome to ask another. By the way, guys, I'm definitely moving slow today, so if I sound slow, I'm definitely moving slow. But yes, The Pain, you may ask another question, I guess, if you like. We're just going over, these are actual jobs that people looked up, and then I'm just kind of filling out some of the stuff kind of as we go over here. And then we're kind of playing with the systems as we go. So that's where we're at right now. That's what's hot in the streets, as they say. Anybody know where I got that from? It's from a 20-year-old show now. Ugh, all right. I'm over here yawning. Sorry, I'm checking some stuff out. All right. So, automation tools and server scripting, right? Whoops, boom. Big one for me, Ansible. I mean, just Ansible can do so much. And if we were to say, well, we're actually in the first Ansible lab right here. I'm going to back out and take us to the second one. Down here, we'll go to the second one right here. So Ansible inventory. So I think for any automation that you're going to do in all the world, you need to get your inventory right. If your inventory is not correct, nothing else you do is going to ever get better or be worth even thinking about. Learn how to do one-off quick deployment or deployments or fixes, right? And then learn how to build into learn how to build the tool, whatever tool it is. Ansible is my tool of choice. Learn how to build the tool into your system builds. All right, so I'm going to show you guys those two things in a second. Payne, you said, I recently got the CSIS cert from CompTIA. They offered being able to do the beta cert for Linux Plus that's coming out the next year. It's on December 5th. Since there are no guides or objectives listed for it, what would you recommend someone focus on for such a thing? All right. The Payne, I actually saw, well, let's go look at this real quick because I don't even know what this is. So hold on a second real quick. I don't even know what this cert is. Oh. I'm going to learn something here right now. What is this cert? Did you... I'm curious what this cert is. Stackable. T-Pain, I'm trying to see, like, what is this cert, like, where, I mean, this looks like all they have for it. Ah, it means you got the A+, Net+. Well, okay, good. I think that's a good, excellent thing to start. And then you're thinking about doing Linux as well. I saw, so somebody actually posted that one in our Discord. Somebody was actually posting this. The same one you're talking about right here. The Linux Plus. And they're redoing a new one for it. And I think they were offering it for the beta for up to only $50. Yeah. No, that's actually really good. But I would, just for filter reasons, because I had never heard of that, I would tell you, like, for filter reasons, make sure you break that out on your resume. Like, make sure you put A+, Net+, and Sec+, at least, even if you put it in parentheses around it, like next to it. Because I see a filter just bypassing somebody because they're looking for only A+ techs, And then they're like, well, we didn't even have an A+ tech. So then that would suck, because you are A+, but that might not convey it to somebody, if that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, I think that would be valuable. I think that the Linux Plus could be something that could help you get ready. There is an older version of the Linux Plus, so I would say, for me, I would just study some of the older stuff. I would definitely list them, because the filters are going to look for the things specific to what people ask for. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely put them all on there. So I'm going to make this file real quick. Servers, and then it's control plane, node 01. So that's an INI format, right? So then I can say Ansible servers from the host file root hosts m shell -a uptime, right? Something like this. And I can hit both of those nodes real quick and see, ooh, good. I've got this information about these nodes, and I can see that they have been up for 1 hour, and I can see information about them. I see that node 01 responded before control plane, because even though that's not the order that they were kicked off in, that's the order they arrived back. And that's kind of valuable, right? So the first thing for any kind of automation is you have to get your inventory correct. Your inventory can be automated, so we can pull it every morning. We can do all kinds of things to validate it, but your inventory has to be correct. Otherwise, everything else you do in the environment's wrong. If I had 5 servers, but I only had 2 in the inventory, when I go to do work, I'm not going to be able to run against all my servers. Now, if servers have different things that they belong to, like different groupings and stuff, which we actually get to here if we keep doing the lab, we can add more to this. We can hit them all with the ping module, which is not a network ping. We can hit them with a ping check, and then we can move forward. And I'm going to actually update this file a little bit with some other stuff. Right? So cat root host, there we go, boom. We can see all of these now. And then I can go and I can say Ansible, and I could say, I just want to say I'm going to hit all of these nodes, even though these other ones don't exist. These other ones actually are coming in as part of a like future server thing. And I can come in here and I can say, you know what, go ahead and Ansible all. We'll just hit all. And then we'll say from I root host. We're just doing that so we explicitly give the host file. Or in this case, it's I for inventory file. And then we're going to say all host groups. Oh, excuse me. And then M, let's say M setup. We'll just hit, actually, yeah, we'll do setup. So we'll run setup against all of them. It's going to be generating a lot of traffic. But look at all those failed ones first. All these nodes up here failed because they didn't exist. And that's fine. We can't even get up to them. Let's do setup, and then let's filter down. Filter equals, like, I don't know, Ansible kernel. Oops. Right, and then that would at least only show down to the kernel stuff that we want. And then there you can see the ones, those nodes don't exist, so of course they're going to fail. That kind of stuff. Let's see, I'm making sure I'm not missing anything over here. Doesn't look like I'm missing anything, but maybe I am. So then, and then there's these ways to look at the inventory in different ways, and you have like so much power with these tools, right? Hey, how's it going, Rob? Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for trusting everybody. We're not working too hard right now. I'm still coming off of being pretty sick for the last 5 days. I never get sick, and I have been like bombed out sick for like 5 days, so I'm just kind of hanging out and working people through we're looking at job postings, and then we're looking at the questions they had, and kind of looking over here on the left with like what we would be doing, and maybe an actual command line to do some of these things. We were down here in automation tools and server scripting, and I was just saying whatever automation tool you use. I like Ansible. Some people like Python. Some people like I'm a big fan of Perl too. You know, I used to use Perl all the time. That's what I cut my teeth. If you asked me, Scott, did you ever learn any programming? I would tell you I was never a great programmer, but I was good enough in Perl to do work. But Bash is a good thing to know too, but Ansible is just a good scaffolding, and we can go and figure out information about our servers and pull things, and I was showing different inventory values that we could look at to kind of see what's going on, and the different formatted outputs that you could see and all that kind of stuff. So the most important thing for automation is to have a good inventory. If you're not going to start in system administration in general, if you're not going to have a good inventory, then you can't tell me you're in control of your systems. If you're not in control of your systems, how can you guarantee me uptime, right? And I'll tell you guys right now, uptime is the only key performance indicator that matters for an operations team. An operations team doesn't care if the data center's on fire as long as everything's still running in that data center. Literally, they only care about uptime. So much so that it's like a joke in comics and stuff, right? Like XKCD, right? XKCD operator. You've got an operator and he's killing everybody. Where's he at? Hold on, he's one of these operator. Oh, it's what is it? It says I think it's administrator. Is it? Anyways, but he's killing everybody. I don't know where it is. All right, whatever. I don't remember. It's one of the XKCDs. I think my brain's too jacked up right now. And then the other part about automation, there's two major things I think. If you're in the administration side of things, you kind of need to know this top one. If you're an engineer, you need to know both of them, I think. Right? I'm a big fan of knowing how to do both of these. And the first one is learn how to do one-off, quick fix deployment type stuff. So like if I had to take both of these systems here, so cat root host, the ones that exist, these servers up here, and I had to be able to turn them both into web servers. I could do that as a one-off right here. Ansible servers -m shell. I could do shell or I could do package -a should be state equals present and name equals something like Apache. I think we could just do Apache. And this will go try to, you got to say -i root host, right? And this will go and it'll try to put on both of those servers. Apache 2. Might be Apache 2. Right? So you install Apache 2 on both of those nodes and then everybody's happy. But think about this for a second. This would not install, or this would do nothing to help, because this is a one-off. This is similar to building something in an imperative fashion in Kubernetes. It's fine, like in a one-off type setting, to just do that and fix one thing if maybe some node just didn't get built correctly, and you just have to get the tools on there to keep the dev teams working or whatever. But this does nothing. This right here fixed the problem, right? Like I could go now. Watch this. I can go to these two nodes, and I can do this real quick. Watch -m shell -a, and then maybe systemctl status Apache 2, right? And I should just be able to see that Apache 2 is running on both of those nodes now, right? I got 2 web servers running that quickly. But the build process is not affected. I didn't go back and fix how when I build a system and somebody clicks the button to make it a web server, this gets built into it, right? Like this right here, I can't go drop this into a playbook. This is perfectly acceptable for a one-off. This is what we call an ad hoc command here. But if I wanted to make this persistent going forward, I would have to take this same thing here and start to turn it into I would have to turn it into a playbook, right? So maybe vi ansible, let's just call it Apache deploy.yaml. You could do YAML or YML. Ansible doesn't care. You will find YML is more common among Ansible people, and YAML tends to be more common, I've found, among Kubernetes people, but it doesn't really matter what you do. Here we put 3 dashes at the top, and then we can say, we can give this thing a name. We can say name, this is the start, or this is a playbook to deploy Apache 2, right? Something like that. And then we could say hosts, and it would be servers, right? Because we know servers is the host. And then we could say other things. We could say vars if we had vars. We could also leave them off if we don't have any vars. We could say tasks. Oops, tasks. and we have a set, number of tasks typically, and you can leave them here. I tend to move them in just a little bit, and then maybe from a task I could say install Apache too, and then we would do the same thing as we did out there. We would say package, and then the package is the name of the module, and then the arguments we give it are name, and this is Apache 2, and the state is present, right? Something like this, and this probably will mostly work. Ansible playbook now, so instead of calling it like this, now we say Ansible playbook -I root hosts, and then we use Apache deploy, right? And now this should, maybe I got something busted in there. I think actually I could just leave these like this. It should be fine. Hold on a second here. Let me get something out of my way here. That's what I get for being too out of it. Name package. Oh, I typically need this one too. And then no, this should all be right. Although I typically do move these into. Oh, that's my bad, guys. I didn't need to do that. My bad. All right, there we go. That's all I needed to do. I don't know. For some reason, I thought those needed them too. All right. Now, this should at least go. Now, when this runs, you're going to find that it doesn't have to do anything, and that's part of the power of Ansible. Because if Ansible finds that something's already there, it's not going to install it. But if I were to go change this to something like Calce, let's just pretend that I wanted to install some other tool instead. Right? Calce is a great example of a terrible tool that should never be there, so we'll go put it on there, and it'll actually go and install. Now, it's not installing Apache 2. The task is a arbitrary value, but it will tell us that it installed the right tool here in a second. And then over on the YouTube side, how's it going? 20G. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. Yeah, Calce is very important. Yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with Calce, what? Oh, so look, this is actually an interesting thing. This happens every time, and I always forget. User games Calce is not in our path. So if I said which Calce, my system doesn't know how to find it. But if I echo $path, and then I were to say path is equal to path, and then $path colon, and then I were to just add in man, what the hell is wrong with my brain right now, guys? I am my brain is not working right now. I should be able to for sure that shit, we'll do this. I don't know what's going on with my brain right now, guys. I can't there it is. Anyway, so we'll do that same command from earlier now. What? Oh, you don't have to put Calce. Right there. That's fine. There we go. Oh my gosh, guys. Man, I don't know how I get anything done around here. I am definitely not 100%. Yeah, Robodom, I mean, I'm getting better, but like as I try to think, like I've got like a very strong like. You don't need the Calce part. Oh, I just, man, I'm like I'm very like brain fog right now. Like I can't, like I'm searching for things in my head and they're not showing up, and I don't like that. I don't. The best school program you can think someone can go to for HKing, like hiking or honor killing, or for hiking. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the HKing is, because I know what KSing is. Like you don't go kill stealing your buddies. Um, no, I'm just kidding. Ops to dev. No, I've been resting all week. Don't worry. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty all right. Oh yeah, we should have given Rob a shout out earlier. He rated us. I'm like just hanging for hacking. Oh, I mean, I guess wherever it depends, right? Like do you want to do some kind of structured thing? There are all kinds of structured programs out there. There are all of the hack the everythings and hack the boxes and try hack me's and stuff, and there's all that stuff. If you want to um, just start working on stuff, a fair amount of what most people consider hacking and or engineering is reading the manual and then figuring things out. Um, yeah, I mean, it depends. I, what I would tell most people to do is start getting into systems and playing with them, because the more you get at the command line and the more you play with and understand, like if you understand why this didn't work and then you understand the error I made here and then how I fixed it here, um, and why this fixed it even though the other one's still broken, and then why this works, that is more important to me than like going and playing games and stuff and like servers that are designed for you to get into. Like for me, I would rather play with things and figure them out, because that's actually what the definition of hacking is set of inputs into a system until you determine its known set of outputs. So but yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of resources out there for you. And I guess it depends what you want to do. I mostly focus on taking people who like doing Linux and getting them into being professionals at administration and engineering of Linux. So yeah. I want you guys to think like an engineer, and hacking is a subset of engineering that doesn't forget that we are also putting planning on the beginning and documentation on the end of it. So, I mean, look, I mean, it depends what you want to do. If you tell me, hey, Scott, I want to do all pen testing, I would say, well, the best way to get into pen testing is go start doing some of that pen testing stuff. If you want to do it in a structured way, if you don't want to do it in a structured way, build your home lab up and start attacking it, because your home lab is the only place that you can legally do that anymore. I was telling you guys the other day, when I was younger, there were no laws against going and getting in servers. It was considered poor taste, and you were probably going to have some kind of thing happen and maybe a cease and desist sent to you, but there were no laws back in the early 2000s and late 90s on getting into servers. There weren't any. There was, I mean, you might get like some like telecommunications and like crossing state lines bullshit, but you weren't going to get any kind of actual like the same kind of legal stuff you're going to get nowadays. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of doing Linux for the sake of doing Linux, and then finding, being engineers. Yeah. Rob left for a penguin for sure. All right. So, um, then I said, learn how to build your tool with how to build the tool, or how to build the tool into your system build pipelines, right? And that should be, you know, you can, if you understand your inventory and you can do it against a set of servers, then you need to learn how to go drop it into roles and be able to add those roles into like your deployment of new servers, so that they always get an updated version of, you can always get an updated version of what am I thinking here? Yeah, learn how to build into your servers, build, and then when you build a new server, it'll go and it'll run the new version of your playbook or your role or whatever type of things there are. So yeah, so I tell you guys, there's different ways to approach learning this Linux thing. I'm a big fan of just getting into Killer Coda and getting your hands on this stuff as much as you can. It doesn't have to be my labs. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of other labs besides mine. I think mine are good, but I tell you guys, if you wanted to look at other ones, do other ones. But I've got labs here for you guys to work with, um, and to get your hands on it. If you feel pretty good about the Linux, right? Like you've been doing Linux, let's say that you've been a hobbyist for over 2 years in Linux, and you're good on the hands-on. You're pretty okay. You feel good enough about reading a man page and going out and figuring, like if I said, hey, can you tell me the kernel version? You'd be like, yeah, you name dash something. Like I'll figure it out eventually, right? Like that's pretty good. Then if you feel pretty comfortable about that stuff, then I would say come over here and get in our Discord and go do like the Linux Systems Administration course where we're going in and we're asking ourselves questions and talking about, hey, all the engineers in your company went on holiday and now you're in the network operations center and the logs are filling up. What do you do? And I give you different options, and then people were answering. Not very many people answered this one, but there's answers in there, and then you go up and you look at, well, some of the earlier ones had even more people in them, right? But tick comes in from application team, and they're all busted. Why are they busted? How do you fix them? You come to find out that there's a whole bunch of ports that need to be opened, but your new firewall, doesn't allow that. So how do you let those through, and how do you go find out? Because I wouldn't know what the hell a node exporter, a Ceph exporter, or a logstash exporter were if I had never seen them before, and I wouldn't expect you guys to either. But then you go spend some time in there, and then one of the other things too is I think there's been a good amount of camaraderie. Like a lot of you guys have figured out, like, hey, other people want to talk about this stuff too. And what happened was, I think it's really cool. Some of you guys have been throwing together little study groups. So there's a study group tomorrow at 5 p.m. That's 5 p.m. my time, which will be different your time. It's 3 hours earlier than it is right now for me. And then Saturday morning they're going to do another one. So if you can only come to one or the other, you could at least go and just sign up, even if you're not coming. Or if you join the Discord and you go pop down here and you just see a bunch of people down there, just go hop in one of the voice channels. Yeah. Treasure's the one running it. Yeah. Yep. So then on Saturday, we've got the main course. So week 10, again, we've got a guest speaker. And then we've got a big event coming up. We're going to do it January 4th of this year, or of next year. That'll be our New Year event. So it'll be 4 days into the new year, but I think that'll be fine. And we typically try to make that fun. We try to do like some giveaways and stuff. And we'll have some guest speakers. We might even, if I can find any recruiters that want to come and talk to you guys about jobs, I'll get recruiters to come in and I'll give them like 20 minutes to talk about their company, talk about what's good, talk about why you should work there and what technologies they use, and then just talk about the open positions, and then boom. And if anybody is interested, they can reach out to them. I'll just say, hey, tell these guys how to contact you. You got 20 minutes. And then you guys can ask them questions or whatever. So that's what I would do. Those are the ways that I would start learning Linux if I was doing this all over again. So my thoughts on all that stuff. So what are we doing today, though? What I actually put in the little chat thing, right? It says, what does it say we're doing? It says, Linux tasks to get the jobs. Yep, so we were doing that. And then working on Unit 10 of the ProLUG course. And then guest speaker on Saturday. Yep, that's going to be my younger brother. So, we talked about those things. And it says, functional knowledge of VPNs, DNS, mail routing, and delivery. All right. So, VPNs, DNS, mail, routing, right? It may surprise you that mail routing is actually done over DNS. DNS is port 53, TCP, and UDP, so you have to have those both open. VPNs tend to be IPsec tunneling. Tunneling. And there's 2 types of IPsec tunneling that tend to be used. There are other types of VPNs that are coming out now that are TLS based, and I haven't spent a lot of time going back and like studying through any of those. So, you might say, oh, I have this other type that I use, and I go, it's probably right. I also don't think I spelled tunneling right. I don't know. We'll figure it out later. Mail routing uses MX records from DNS. Mail tends to be IMAP or POP 3, and SNMP, right? Simple network, SNTP, simple message transfer protocol. So those tend to be your primary ones. And then if we wanted to figure out, like, let's say, how does Linux know what those ports are? Well, we come over here to any one of these servers. Let's go drop in a server. I don't even know. Lab 1 system check, and we're in some type of Ubuntu system, right? Let's just look at anybody, and then grep IMAP. There's IMAPs. God damn it. Hold on. I just scratched my arm. -I IMAP. So there's IMAP. What's one of these other ones here? POP. So any of the POP protocols there, and SMTP there. So if you were to study or get ready for this, you would know that IMAP 2 is 143, POP 3 is 110, and SMTP is 25. So if somebody was having a problem getting to your mail server, one, make sure that the ports are open on your mail server. Good. Things are running. Services are on. Make sure that your firewalls are not blocking them. And here's the thing. One of the first things we do is check, is it just that user? Is it localized to just that user? Or is it all users but only one user's complaints? So one thing I might do very quickly if I was in charge of the mail service is I would just send a message to myself. Send from another system, go through that mail exchange and get to that system or another system and verify that my email's still working. Oh yeah, it's just for this one user. If just that user was blocked, I wouldn't check any of this port crap. I know it's working, and I know nothing's changed. So, you're good, Robodon. Posting stuff twice is good for people. It is. It'll help them remember. Help them come down the Discord and hang out. This was Go Get Degree. Go get certs. Because look, they want this, but that doesn't mean they're always going to get it. So certs would be good. Go build a portfolio. Because here's the thing, and we don't talk about this much, but one of the guys said yesterday, one of the guys, well, no, it wasn't yesterday, it was like a couple weeks ago, he goes, can I lie on my resume? And the general consensus from those of us that have given many, many interviews over the years is, well, I can ask you anything on your resume, so be ready to talk to it. But another one would be like, let's say you've been working out of a home lab doing Linux for the last 5 years. So, home Linux experience of 5 years. I mean, how are you going to prove to me that you did that? I mean, I guess I might believe you if I talk to you for a few minutes. But what about this? What if you had a portfolio that showed what kind of work you knew how to do, and then when we talked about it, you were like, oh yeah, this is just stuff I've been working on in my home lab, and I kind of understand how to do it because I've built it, and I don't have the 3 or 5 years of experience in the workplace, but I have been working with these technologies, and I think that's a much better way to do it, in my mind. Obviously you can be as honest or dishonest as you want. That's up to you. I don't ever put anything on my resume that I couldn't talk to. for like a minute if somebody were to ask me about it. Yeah, my body's changed into that penguin. I actually, it's funny, that little sweater thing he's wearing. I have something that looks just like that. It's like a little it's like a little snuggie type thing, but it's almost a sweater and it's almost a blanket. It's somewhere in between. I'm not wearing it right now, but I could. So. So, anyways, so this is where. Ow, I swear there's like little bugs out in Phoenix right now that are kind of like just being jerks. Just kind of flying around and I don't know, bugging people. All right, and by people I mean me. So, all right. So we did this one, right? Kind of walked through all these. We've done a lot of these, guys. We've walked through a lot of these over time. But let's go down. The next one, that one was kind of complex because that one had to do with if you were specifically working with like SpaceX. And I'm like, hey, that's cool. That's a good thing to shoot for. I'm not going to tell anybody they couldn't get a job. They probably could. But now this next one, I want to say this was a security-based one. So this was like a security type job, right? And the very first one was vulnerability research experience of public targets. So for this one, if you've never done any research, if you've never hit public targets, do you guys know how you would start that, or where you would even start to say that? I mean, there's some CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker, has some methodologies for this. I imagine the what is that, OSEC or whatever that one is? That's probably one that has some. But the one that I know, the one that I think would get you best started here is attack.miter.org. And this one will tell you all the things about reconnaissance, resource development, and before you even get into initial access. So reconnaissance and resource. So I'm a big fan of attack.miter.org. That's what we call the attack framework, or some people call this the kill chain, right? And you can dig into any one of these, like how do we actively scan? How do we gather victim host information? What if I told you, if you knew a company, right? Let's just pick a company, like even a company we like. We can like, let's just curl carousls.com. .com, I'm pretty sure. And it says, well, that moved. And then now, by the way, I've already learned some things about the site that I didn't know. And then maybe I say, okay, well, that was good, but that didn't give me everything. So maybe I go to like host carousls, and it gives me some information about it. And I can go, and again, I'm keeping all of this. I'm logging all of this, all the things I did. But carousls.com, and then maybe Caris Life Sciences is the actual page, and then we see if those are similar, and we're gathering all the IPs of everything that we touch, right? And then maybe we go back to curling this, and that one's also Nginx moved. And we can also say we only want the what's the one to only show me the dash capital I, any information they want to give me. There we go. All right, so the reason it's moved permanently off of 301 is because we're doing an insecure call against the HTTP, right? We're not doing HTTPS, and it's not redirecting us automatically. And there's a few things I know about it being Nginx. If anybody wants to tell me, you can. But even before I dig into it, there's a few things I know immediately by the fact that they're running Nginx in front of it. But then, okay, so I go, okay, well, can I get to the actual page? So I say, well, what how about this? What if you just give me the real page? And then I'm probably going to have to set the, I think, dash lowercase k. So, will that curl work? Because that's the full name. That was fine. And then, so that worked, right? And maybe I say, now for that one, give me the header information. And I say, okay. Right, there you go. right? So they put this little fun one in here. I think one of my old bosses probably wrote this in here, um, right? So I'm learning things about this site right now that are guys. I'm not doing anything illegal. The server is giving me all of these things, right? I'm just using the tools to pull those things down. And what I'm doing here is this is no more illegal than walking out in front of their company and taking pictures of like what's being exposed. Like if they had like a shopping cart out in front. All I'm doing is looking, but I'm seeing a bunch of information about the page that could then be useful to know, right? Um, so all that to say, that right there is just gathering information, right? Action, yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Um, there are a couple differences though. These requests here touched their systems real. So did this. These ones here hit DNS without actually touching their systems. Now, it depends on. So I've told you guys I was the red team lead, right, at a big insurance company, and this right here doesn't start the timer. This kind of stuff right here doesn't start the timer of me touching their system. But once I touch their system, once I go from my system to their system, that starts a timer typically. And then, I can only have so much time to probe and do things before I'm probably going to trigger alarms. And there's different things that are going to happen. And you might say, well, do you do this directly? Because I'm doing this from my home system, right? I didn't jump out anywhere. I'm right on my home system. Well, it depends. I mean, if I was white box testing my company, I can do this all I want. Because I'm just, when somebody sees my IP address in there, I'm like, forget it, that's my home IP. But if I was scanning them for real, I may be using some type of reverse proxy and doing stuff, or what we call not a reverse proxy, a forward proxy out to the internet and then be connected somewhere else and all that kind of stuff. And then there's different levels of that depending on what you want. But the point is there's different things in here. The reconnaissance, recon techniques. If you want to learn more about them, where did I go? I got rid of it all. They can tell you all about them. You want to learn about searching closed sources? Here's how you search closed sources, and here's information about it, and where you go read about them. And then you can go here and you can say, what about open sources? There's all kinds of open technical databases out there. There's all kinds of you can read all kinds of things about previous compromises and how they worked, if you want to. There's a tremendous amount of stuff for you guys to go. Yeah, but ops dev, I'm not even doing anything too crazy. I'm just showing you guys this kind of stuff. There's reverse engineering tools. So for me, I don't do this stuff too much, but Bento Linux, might be Bento, is a little Linux. Oh, and yeah, it comes from Tsurgi, right? These guys. And they are big on forensics and being a toolkit for live forensics of servers that you've maybe suspected of being compromised and pulled off your network, and for incident response of things that are happening in your environment. But there's going to be one of these things that I always tell you guys here. It's got 300 portable applications. It's got a suite of digital forensic tools and incident response things and all this kind of stuff to happen, right? There's all this stuff for you guys to go learn about and play with this tool, right? It's a general public. But I'm going to tell you guys the same thing I always tell you. You don't want to be downloading this and running this for the first time in your environment if something bad is happening. You need to know how to use your tools before then. So you need to go spend some time in there. My wallpaper's nice. Oh, good. Yeah. Well, hopefully this stuff's useful to you guys. Yeah. And by the way, here's the signed mirror. So you can download from a mirror, and then you verify the hash with SHA-512 to make sure it's the right thing, right? So yeah, that's a pretty cool little. I haven't dug into Gen too much or Ben too much. I just know that it's there. I know that they have it as Tsurugi, or however you say that, Tsurugi Lab or whatever. Yeah. So you guys can go play with that if you want. Oh man. And look, it depends. I mean, how much time do you want to spend getting into that? Is that, that's not my career field, but I can help you guys, like, at least go look it up and get started, right? That's the first thing. You just got to get started, right? Um, this one talks about you. Another one about that reverse engineering stuff is go talk to Cerberus. And I couldn't possibly find Cerberus's name on Twitch side of things, but and that is not how it's spelled. It's all spelled out in leak. All Cerberus does when they're live is reverse engineer malware. That's what they do professionally, and you will learn more in passively watching a professional do something that, and I would say this unequivocally as somebody who's been teaching for 16 years, that I think you will learn more in 16 or I'm sorry, you will learn more in like 8 hours of watching them than you probably would in like a week of studying on your own for a class. I'd be willing to bet it, because it's just they're going to be so much more directed, and they're knowing exactly what the tasks are, and they can show you like these are the 7 things you need to do, and then you can go spend that time more effectively getting better at those things, which is, by the way, one of the reasons I'm so big on, if you are going to be a college professor, I think you should still be in the field you're working in. Like, I'm not a big fan of remaining a college professor if you're not doing it actively, which is what I do. I'm a college professor and an engineer, right? I don't just teach. So anyways, go talk Cerberus on Twitch. Let me find their name real quick. I got it over here because they raided me not too long ago. Yeah. Let me go find their name. I got them right here somewhere. Here it is. And I apologize, guys. What? I definitely copied it. All right, I'm gonna have to type it. C3RB3. Hold on. RU5D3D53C. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can just. Pretty sure I got them right there. I thought I was right there. Yeah, that's them. I got them. No, thanks, Robodome. I appreciate it. But oh, you got it. But I shouted them out. That's perfect. Yeah. But yeah, if you're, I mean, look. In fact, I don't think I've been over on their stream without them having like this tool up. Like, I think they're always in one of these tools. So those are the things that I would tell you to do. Utilizing full system emulation for research and analysis. This is a fancy way saying building out a lab, right? Like, that's all that is, right? Utilizing full system emulation just means running a lab. So, I mean, what type of lab do you want me to build? Do you want me to build it in Proxmox? Do you want me to build an XCPNG? Do you want me to do, a bunch of KVM? But the point is, if you're going to do system research and analysis, and they tell you, hey, by tomorrow I need you to have 3, Red Hat boxes. One of them should be Red Hat 7, one should be Red Hat 8, one should be Red Hat 9, and you don't have that environment up now, you should be able to get that stood up by tomorrow to go in and talk with a customer or something. And that's what I would do. That's what I would focus on and learn how to do. Just a fancy way of saying building out a lab. Because full system emulation means you are testing against a real system. Yeah, Exshunya. So if I said, hey, next time we talk, when I hit you up this weekend, I need you to make sure you have this type of server. And you would go, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Once I have that type of server, then we could sit around and we could muck around in it. But I need you to be on that same version of. Well, yeah. So then you find this stuff here fun and interesting, and you're like, oh, but I want to be on the same version of Ubuntu. But Scott's got us doing everything in Rocky 9.4. Well, in your environment, you can do whatever the hell you want. And that's when they say system emulation, that sounds really, really fancy for research and analysis. And sounds like we got our pinky up in the air as we're drinking from our glasses and sitting around and being all full of ourselves with a bunch of titles before and after our names. No, just it's building a lab. That's all this is. Fancy way of building out a lab. All right, this one. Understand the TCP/IP stack, how things are moving in. This is Wireshark. This is TCP dump, right? This is I'm trying to think of what that's called on the Windows side of things, but Wireshark kind of does it in Windows anyways. But yeah, learning how to build out Linux will help you a lot, Exshunya, for sure. And I think it'll be really valuable to you in your career, for sure. But yeah, you're like, look, guys, let me show you guys something in case you haven't seen this. Let's just pull up Wireshark real quick here. Just pull up Wireshark, and let's just turn on. All right, well, fuck it, we're gonna install this stupid update. You know what? Hold on, I don't think I can install it because actually I think it breaks. Yeah, it actually breaks my Ethernet. So Ethernet, look, I've got a local Ethernet 4 cable. I don't run my Wi-Fi at home unless I need to jump to a different network because I have two networks that come into my home. But let's just capture my traffic right now. We'll just capture my traffic for a little bit. Oh, hold on. Stop that. No packets, of course, because that's stupid. We want to capture. It was local area connection 4, right? So let's watch this traffic. Maybe I'm confused. Hold on. Definitely confused. Maybe it was Ethernet? I thought it was... Huh. I could have sworn. Alright, well, whatever. We'll hit this one. There we go. So now here's all this traffic going on my home system here. And my system communicating out. I could probably surmise where all my streaming is going right here. And then when I'm done, I hit stop. And I go, okay, that's good, that's good. How about this TCP right here? There's some kind of TCP happening. I can right-click and say, all right, I want to follow this stream, right? I know that we can follow a TCP stream as it's happening, right? So then maybe I come over here and I go, okay, well, this is what was happening in this communication, right? We got TCP. We got some real-time messaging protocols, so RTMP as opposed to like RTMP is an alternative to RTP, which is real-time transport protocol. But then we come all the way up to the top. Watch, so we're going to pop all the way up to the top here. We captured all these, and here's the first one. But in the big scheme of things, relative to, let's go to TCP, relative sequence number is 1. So as we started to catch this communication, this is the very first one, all the way down to the bottom. If we look at the bottom one, its relative sequence number is, that's a lot of frames to happen in between here and there, right? Because we're captured all the way down to the frame layer, right? And then we can go look at what was happening and what was talking, and we can start to look at if there's problems. Are things not as we expect, or are they as they expect? Are we seeing fragmentation and packages being dropped? A lot of times when you're doing this, you'll get to like this, and something was happening. Something had we had some duplicates being acknowledged, and then fast retransmission had to happen, and they just show up as like black marks in an otherwise really clean stream, so we can go really quickly look at them and go, okay, well, not that big of a deal. It wasn't like there was a huge amount of dropped packets in the big scheme of this, right? I heard VLAN flags are hard to manage in traffic. I don't use Proxmox, so I wouldn't know, James. But some of these guys might know. X Shunya, or if Fisherman's ever around, he might know. Typically, those guys definitely do that stuff more than I do. Um, but yeah, this is a thing right here, right? Come in here and get some experience with this stuff. All right. So let's get this out of the way. This is Wireshark. It's a perfectly fine little tool. Quit without saving. This one says source management tools, and typically this means SVN, which is like some kind of software versioning something. But the big ones for these are going to be the only ones are GitHub or Git. So they want you to know Git, right? They want you to know maybe working with a team and branching, merging. Those are probably the things that get the most people that don't do it often. You probably need to have some experience with that, right? It says down here they want experience with assembly language. So they want you to go all the way down to assembly language. There are free, I'm pretty sure, last I checked, pretty sure there's a free one from MIT in the OpenCourseWare. So if you guys have ever heard of OpenCourseWare, that's free stuff. But if you want to get into how assembly courses work or assembly language works, there is a link there for you guys to play with, right? Now, are you going to get a college credit for it? No, but are you going to at least understand it? Yes. And then you can be confident enough to talk about it in free courseware and books online, right? I mean, because at the end of the day, how do we get experience in it if we've never touched it before? I claim no expertise in assembly language stuff. Never did it. It wasn't one of my things. So. Right? Degrees are good. That's what they want, but maybe you have experience in search to cover. I'm going to tell you, I've known plenty of people that have never worked, never done anything academically, but they can hold their own in a discussion of technical topics, right? Because they've been working on it for a long time. But there's a certain discipline and skill that they've had to have picked up around reading and understanding new technologies and all those kind of things that may be able to do this, right? They may be able to handle that. I don't know what they mean by RTX here, so I can't help you with this RTX one, right? Unfortunately, I don't even know what an RTX project is. And then they want you to have these types of experience. They want you to have some capture the flag experience, which I think is fine. You know, that's fine. You can go get that. You can go sign up to any number of capture the flag events just this weekend if you want to go look around the internet for them. They're all over the place. Fuzzer development. I mean, there's different fuzzer tools that are out there that you could play with. And then you can get into the open source of that if you want to go and look at how they're developed and stuff. They want you to understand stuff that you would have to probably spend some time with Wireshark and reading about. I would go study some of my Cisco stuff. And then they want you to know Linux. They always want you to know Linux, don't they? There you go, boom. And then day-to-day is all, that's funny, it's all Linux stuff. They want you to have all that. No, this has got to be a different job. Hold on. This has got to be a new job down here. Yeah, this is a different job. Because you can't ask for all of these things up here and then just be like, and all you're going to do is this. That's like that meme. Have you guys seen the meme Meme about job v the interview. Interview. You guys ever seen the interview? You guys ever seen the memes of the difference between the job and the interview? And it's like it's this right here. The technical interview is like you're fighting it out over the city, but the actual job is just you're like a couple of assholes sitting there, uh, chucking. Yeah, this is the actual job down here. That's pretty real actually. Technical interviews, all the wildest shit you've ever seen. Um, you got to be able to execute your code in under 70 milliseconds to sort 40,000 lines, and you got to be doing all this shit, and then the actual job is just you like waiting for 20 other people on your team to un-F their merged broken code to get it running. And you might say, Scott, you sound like you've maybe done something. No, I've never been a programmer, but I've worked with all the teams. I'm mostly just the guy keeping all their systems running. I'm very thankful for that. I just like to be the guy that keeps everything running. So, all right. But anyways, I think that's all interesting and kind of important. So, kind of that stuff. Ekshunya, in your opinion, how's the developer market? I couldn't tell you, Ekshunya. I couldn't tell you. I can tell you one thing that I do know for certain is I'm gonna be making some study groups around doing. You guys know I'm like an amateur data scientist, and I work with NOAA stuff, and I do my own little data projects for fun. And I am gonna be, and that's NOAA, and I'm probably gonna be doing a lot more of those because that's going to be coming up for me for college stuff. So, if any of you guys see me posting for some study groups, that's what I'm going to be working on. So, oh, shoot, some of this stuff's really old. I'm way back, sorry. If I missed anything, I apologize, guys. Rucom with the follow. Thanks for the follow. I don't have any GPUs, Ekshunya, or I could show you guys how GPUs work. Also, it's funny that thing can't say, like, I can't say your name right for this CC. But yeah, data science stuff is all good. Oh man. Yeah, when I don't know last time I showed you guys all the stuff over on I get that stuff out of there. All the stuff over on NOAA right now. There's a bunch of stuff coming up right now. November 21st. These are open to the public. It always says on them. If it's open to the public, if anybody can attend, they tell you right here. I mean, pretty much any U.S. citizen. This one is libraries as community hubs for citizen science, so they're trying to get you guys involved, people that want to go and do this stuff, right? So, and these are all free events to get you involved. All right. We talk about these ones next. Yeah, Ekshunya, thankfully the fever is all past. I only had a fever on Saturday and Sunday. Monday on, I haven't had a fever, so I'm pretty good on that. So now I'm just kind of hanging out and working on getting better. Do you guys want to check on Ranger? How's Ranger doing? Look at Ranger down there. Also, you'll notice there's a whole bunch of tables up because we're getting ready for a party. The wife is out of town right now. Well, it's weird. She's in town, but she's out of town. You say, well, how does that work? Well, she's just outside of our town in this other town called Surprise, and she's out there with some of her friends. They rent. It's gonna sound silly to some people, but they rent houses out, and then they do scrapbooking. And I told her, I'm like, you know, that's kind of like an old lady activity. And she's like, yeah, but well, so my wife has her own scrapbooking room in the house here. So that's that. And then she goes to these retreats where she just scrapbooks. So she's out of town scrapbooking tonight. And then into tomorrow, she'll work a little bit and then she'll go and do that. But then when she gets back on Sunday, she'll be back with only like a couple of hours before the party. So we had to start setting up for the party before, and then we'll move. So Ranger loves when people are around. Don't get me wrong, but we'll move Ranger out of the way, and then we'll put the tables out. Then we'll put some chairs out everywhere so people can hang out by Ranger. We got a bunch of lays, you know, like the lays that you wear at parties, and we're gonna have all the kids sit with Ranger and put a lay on Ranger. So he's probably gonna be happy about that. Oh yeah, James, the satellites being lost because of solar activity. Yeah, yeah. There's always stuff that happens. Um, um no, X Shunya, I'm trying to grow it back up to bigger. But I mean, people can always type, right? So people can type and do whatever. But it's also, I think, a little better to be on the stage because when we have guest speakers, I think it's better when the guest speaker can just talk as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, I will. I mean, if we had all 40 something people now, we would have a hard time even down in one. Because I think we got 40 something people again say they're coming. I mean, we might not have all 47, but hopefully. Um, hopefully it'll blow up again. Yeah, because we only had like 40 people, and I was like, yeah, we'll get going. And then when we started going, like that second week, I was telling people about it, and then all of a sudden there was like 200 people in it. I was like, all right, well shoot, we're gonna go, and we've just been running it. So, um, but yeah, we'll hopefully make it accessible for as many people as possible. All right, I'm gonna take a break real quick. Let me pull up my little hourglass here. Let me go quick break. Say quick break. Here, I'll say quick break, and you guys keep an eye on Ranger for me. Close that down. How's the rest of these labs looking? Yeah, everything looks alright. We don't need that. Oh, you guys were asking the other day about the Bastion labs. I'll make a Bastion lab for you guys again in the new environment. So that'll be good practice. So, oh yeah, look, Ranger down there. You can see him. See him trying to run in his sleep. All right. I'll be back, guys. Go get me some water. Yeah, Ranger definitely is up there. My dog. All right. What's everybody else been working on? You guys doing anything else useful? I always ask that on the. I always ask that in the Discord. What's everybody working on? Yeah, here's all the new people. And then, I can't show you guys that. But complaint departments. If there's any good complaints. This was really funny. If you get some time to go watch that, that'll make you laugh. Too many cooks. It's a fun little skit. There's a bunch of free certs that you guys could take if you're interested in just free stuff, because I think free stuff is great. And especially if you're starting out in the industry and you don't have a lot of money, free is the best type of thing. Plus, I tell you guys all the time, one of the best things that could ever happen to you is you come here and go, oh, I really want to do Linux, and then you play with Linux for 10 minutes and go, God, I don't want to do any more Linux. No, that's the best free advice you might have gotten. I know people, I tell you guys, I have college students that are in 300 level classes, and they hate doing stuff. And I'm like, well, that's an expensive mistake. I got a brother-in-law, my wife's brother. He graduated with a chemical engineering degree. It's a pretty good degree, right? Guys, I'm not making this up. I'm not going to tell you his name, but I'm not making this up. He's got a chemical engineering degree from a good college out here in Arizona. Real good college for that topic. Real good engineering college out here. One of the top, actually, I would definitely top 10 in the country for engineering. And when he graduated, we were at his graduation party, and I said, "Oh man, when are you going to start working?" And he goes, I'm not making this up, guys. Not making it up for the story. He goes, I'm never going to do chemical engineering again. And I was like, wow, that was an expensive lesson, because you literally just paid for 4 years of in-state tuition's cheaper than out-of-state tuition, but literally just paid for 4 years of college, and you don't want to work in that space. It'll always be wild to me that that's what he chose to do. But yeah, 4 years, got a bachelor's in chemical engineering. I think I might have even asked him, like, when's the master's, and he's like, oh, no. And I was like, all right, well. Robdom, you've been working on basic full stack stuff? Nice. Trying to get connected to Mongoose. Nice. I've never, is it actually Mongoose database, or are you talking about the other one, MongoDB? You messing with me? Huh. All right. I don't know. Nobody uses that out in the industry anymore after they went business source license back in 2019. That's when Red Hat moved away from them, and that's when the AWS and stuff like that forked their project and went with DocumentDB. Yeah. So, Hellhound 1406. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. We're not working too hard right now. We're still on break, actually. I'm just kind of hanging out here and showing you guys. Our Discord has 3,200 people in it, so that's kind of getting popular. I don't think that's too bad. OpenResty. I don't even know what OpenResty is. And I think that's, I don't know why my closed caption said rusty. I said resty. RESTY. Silliness. All right. So what are we gonna do, guys? What do we want to work on. Do we need to? Well, we got to do a few things in the home lab, right? These are general daily tasks we got to kind of go do to just make sure that the lab's pretty clean. Let's real quick. We'll exit this node. Control Shift R to Ansible. And we'll just go ahead real quick on all the servers, check their uptime, see how they're doing. We're just going to hit all the nodes in our servers file. Somebody's on Rocky 17 still, so that's good. I mean, somebody's on one. We can, just to make sure that the environment's clean, we can reset all the other nodes. So we could say uptime -- exclude. I'm pretty sure exclude will work for Rocky 17 like that, right? I'm pretty sure that'll work. No, does it not? I know you can for sure limit, but I would want to limit only to certain nodes. Let's see. Tell me if you guys see. Oops. Tell me if you guys see an exclude. I don't see exclude. Oh, wait. I might have a. Well. Let's try that. Because we might have to, if we were gonna do that, yeah, that won't work. Because oh yeah. I guess we would have to. No, I guess that's not going to work like that. So we could do it in the exclusion if we were doing a playbook like that. I guess we can't. There are limitations to what you can do in an ad hoc command in Linux. So I don't want to reboot 17. So we could do. Yeah, we don't have to do it now. I guess we'll assume they're all still healthy. It's just when these nodes start getting up over a certain amount of days, I imagine people have mucked around in them, and we probably need to clean them out a little bit, you know. I was going to originally have them reboot every night, but night for me is not the same as everybody else. So I just kind of do it when I see nobody's on them. So we'll wait. I typically do them the right before we do our labs as well, or right before we do our meetings, so that people don't get like, I don't want to take people out that are actually validly in the system for that kind of stuff. So, all right. What else do we have? I can play video games, but nobody wants to see me play video games. I can work on college stuff, but I don't think anybody wants to see me do that either. So. All right. Yeah, well, it's a DBA, but yeah, it's a doctorate still. It's not a PhD technically. PhD tends to be more theoretical, almost, not always, but it's more theoretical, and then the DBA is more of like a business application. So my research, I actually do have to consider if I'm going to change some of my So let's go to Scholar. Did you guys know you could just go to scholar.google? I don't know if any of you guys knew this, but there's Google Scholar, and you can just go there whenever you want. And most of the stuff you can get into, but some stuff you do have to have access to, which is kind of how a lot of these scholarly journals get paid and that kind of stuff. But I can just come in here and say, engineer satisfaction in on the job training. Satisfaction. Oh man. There we go. Hopefully I can spell that right eventually. And then we can come down here and we can come down and look at all these types of jobs. And then now we can come down here and we give it a custom range, because typically for me, I need to be looking for things from 2021 to like 2024, because then 25, 26. So I'm probably going to be finishing my doctorate right at the end of 2026, maybe early 2027. But if that's the case, I'd have to only search things from 2022 on right now, right? So then now I would look for things that looks at how engineers are actually being how they're being trained, and how satisfied they are training, you know. Guys, can I show you though, like the best thing ever? So if you're using a tool like this, right, and you're down here and access to, yeah, so see, I have to have a subscription for this. So I would either have to have my college, which I have over on Firefox. I'd have to open my other browser up and bring it over here. But one of the cool things about this is you can if you have Zotero, and if I had access to the full doc, it could download the doc, and then Zotero can keep a bunch of my different like we were talking the one time about surfing the tiny atmospheric waves and how that might work, and this was something that I had went and found from the U.S. National Science Foundation, and they were doing this little project where they were looking at how they could look at the whatever they were flying these satellites, right? And there was actually a competition that we did where it was similar to this, but it was in the Gulf, and it was a bunch of things that they just threw in the water, and then we were using 3 weeks of training data to then try to decide where everything was going to be 3 weeks later, right? So it's kind of an interesting, yeah. So anyways, there's some interesting ones. But my point in showing you guys this is that you can go and you can pull that down. But yeah, Google Scholar's pretty good. I actually have a pretty good library through my college too. But a lot of this stuff is the same net back end. Let's see, this one I couldn't get, but let's see if I can get the PDF here. If it'll just let me download it. Yeah, so here's the article downloaded, right? And then so here's what I was saying is I could take this, and I could go to my Zotero connector and say, wait, where did I kill Zotero off? I shouldn't have. Is it right here? Yeah. Oh, because it's already on a file. So okay, well that's fair enough. But anyways, I can come down here and I can read to measure the impact of key predictors of job satisfaction and job performance of employees in the IT industry. Okay. They're using a confirmatory factor analysis on a sample of 364 respondents. So this is similar. This right here is interesting to me because I wouldn't mind doing something like this with the professional Linux users group, right? Whoever wants to respond can, but then I would ask, like, what's your role in the industry? What are you doing? How satisfied are you with their training? And, I'd just, have some kind of basic tests that I could squeeze down into quantifiable analytics and figure out what basically job satisfaction with training. Because I'm mostly interested in to what degree does training and then what type of training keep you interested in working. Because, like, I've told you guys this, and this is going to sound weird to some people, but I'm going to tell you it's true. The way you motivate engineers as they get further along in their career has very little to do with money. And some of you, again, aren't going to believe that early on, but I've said this before on stream, and it's true. You couldn't pay me $50,000 more to move to a different job if I didn't think that job was going to be just as easy as the one I'm in. And you say, really? And I say, yeah, yeah. I'm not going to go back to some super fast paced, like if you offered to pay me 50K more to go to like a startup, and I'm going to have to be working like 12-hour days and like traveling, and oh hell no, nope. 50K, no, nope, not even worth it. Not even worth it. No, not even close. But how would you motivate me? Well, I mean, I have to think it's stable. I have to think it's gonna do something, like it's got to be intellectually challenging to me, and I'm gonna have to have some good puzzles, but not so many that I'm working like that all the time. Like I worked 12-hour days when I was younger. Hell, when I was in the infantry, I worked 24-hour days, right? Sleep wasn't guaranteed in the infantry. Well, 3 hours a night is what the Army has determined you have to get to not lose your sanity. So that's all you're ever really guaranteed in the infantry is 3 hours a night. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. But yeah, the Army's figured out exactly how much sleep you have to give somebody before they lose their fucking mind. And but by the way, they did a lot of experimentation in Vietnam with cocaine. You guys can go look that up if you want. I don't even think it was all cocaine. I think they had figured out that meth was even better for keeping people awake, and they were giving people meth. And they were keeping units up for 3 weeks straight. And then sleep deprivation psychosis used to just melt people's brains. But anyways, all right, I'm not talking that stuff. I'm just saying there's interesting things you learn about the infantry when you're in the infantry. So, they're going back too. They're going all the way back to '79. So while this is a newer article, they're citing things that has been there for a long time. Look at this. Estimates of cost of replacing technology workers range from roughly 1.5 times their annual salaries to 2.5 times their annual salaries. So next time your manager thinks you're expendable, just let them know that it's going to cost a lot to replace you if you're technical. You know, that's one of the reasons some of these companies, will work so much with people to not let them go if they're good, people in the process. Industry experts propose that the cost of losing a scientist or engineer can be 3 to 6 the cost of losing a manager. Yeah. There's the link right here. Yep. That's the link I'm reading, guys. I was just on Google Scholar, and then I was down here in job satisfaction. Yeah. If you guys want to read along with me, it should be job satisfaction on job performance of employees in information technology. And the one thing I did was I searched for 2022 to 2024. If they allow me to say, they don't allow me to do it here, so this is one of the reasons I wouldn't use this tool. But I have to have peer reviewed. So I don't know if this is peer reviewed. This is published by many people, but I need to make sure. Well, it's been published by them. So it's probably, we can see if this is a peer-reviewed magazine. I've never heard of this before. I have to imagine, yeah. This is peer-reviewed. Yep, double-blind peer review. Okay, all right, good. If you've never been peer-reviewed, well, I haven't either yet, but I will be soon. I've had a lot of my work reviewed over the years as an engineer, and I've had my stuff published as an engineer, but I have not done academic level publishing of things. So they focus on software developer engineers as opposed to IT employees in general due to the critical nature of their work. that's fair. I would probably focus on Linux systems administrators and engineers, and I would probably separate them out into those titles based on whether or not they do mostly operations work or project work. Yeah, IL fault, absolutely. Absolutely, that's a huge incentive to keep people. If you're going to lose that kind of money, yep, yep. So they do the literature review. So if you guys, for people that have never done, let me just start at the top here. Typically, you got an abstract, and that's going to tell you the quick, high level, quick and dirty of what it is. You will typically know by the end of this the type of study they're doing. This is just a research article, so they may not be adhering to a quantitative or qualitative methodology. They might not be directly coming to some type of conclusion, and they might not be building a model. They're not saying any of those things here. So the abstract, real quick, and then another thing that you do when you're skimming stuff to find out if it's valuable and you want to use it, you jump to the bottom, right? So you jump to the bottom, and you go to the conclusion, and you say, well, does the conclusion make me want to read the rest of the article, right? So the study discovered level of job satisfaction, dimensions, pay promotions, and work self of the employees are satisfied with the job they performed, and also where positive correlation exists between the job performance of each of the four job satisfaction dimensions. Okay, so they are making an assertion, right? That is an academic assertion right there, right? And they have taken a stance, and they are supporting that stance with all of their thoughts up here, and that's good. This is fine. Now, there could be factors. Okay, good. The one thing that I think is going to this again, this is just an academic article, so it's not the same rigor. Let me see up here. They've got their literature review, so that's all the background, right, as you're going through. Yeah, executive summary is a good way to think of that for sure. Yeah, so they have the research gap, the research problem, and the research objective. Here they do. Okay, they do have their hypothesis. Okay. Now, if they were fully doing quantitative analysis, which is what I'm doing for my doctorate, what they would do is you would have your hypotheses, and then in this case, there's no significant, there's no significant, there's no. And then what you would be trying to do is you would be looking at a null hypotheses and whether or not you can reject the null hypotheses, right? So because you can never fully accept your hypothesis. You could say everything points to it, but you can then, because things point to it, you can reject the null hypothesis, and then you can go that direction. So there's different rigor depending on what you're doing and the organization. I'm not saying anything bad about this organization or how they did it. It's just I'm telling you the way I have to do it for my doctorate is I have my hypotheses and then I have my null hypotheses, which are the things that I'm trying to essentially disprove. But this is good. Now, they're saying there's no significant relationship because there's different ways typically that you're trying to quantify. Is there a strong relationship or just a weak relationship? Is it a positive or a negative relationship? So now I've never heard this term like this before, but here's one of the things you got to remember. Anything in technical writing is typically explained before. So I've never seen this term before, like this employee opined. I mean, I know what that means, but I mean, I've never seen that. So I might say, right? Oh, those are the only places they show it. Okay. The research gap should show where there's nothing there. So this is something that fills in there. And then what the research problem is. Also, if you guys want to hear something funny, my college professor for this course, we only have 4 students in the course, which is the smallest class I think I've had. I think before that in my doctorate it was like 8 was the smallest, and this last one just had 18 people, so it was pretty big. But what just happened was the doctor for this course. This is an economics course. He already called some people out for, and there's only 4 people in the class, so I know it wasn't me, for using AI to generate their posts. And I'm like, well, I know my posts are all good. Um, yeah, it's possible. Definitely possible. All right. Let's go look real quick. By the way, one other thing too is, and this is something, because I had a whole course on this really early on in my doctorate. As you start with your abstract, you go to your conclusion, you make sure that this is in the realm of what you want to read before you go and read it. And then you pop down here, and as you finish reading it and finish, agreeing with it or disagreeing or whatever, now you've got all these other references to go start to look up, right? Now, for me, none of these references are useful. I can't use any of these for my doctorate. For when you do a doctoral dissertation, it has to be within 5 years of your graduation. So if I can finish in 26, then, and I told my wife, I'm not going to sit around and dick around on this thing. I'm just going to write it. Um, so if I can finish it in 26, I can go all the way back to 21. But I set this to be 2022. So just assuming maybe I'm going out to 27. And then, yeah, none of these would be useful, except it's possible. Let's say that this is what we call it's a foundational work, but I think the term is it's not ecumenical. It's somebody help me out. What is that? What's that term for when something's a foundational work? What is that called? There's a term for it. Yeah, yeah. I love dabbling in all kinds of other stuff, but I told the wife, I was like, I just have to finish the doctorate because I've been in academics for, like, some of you guys know I've been doing college, like, I've been going to college my whole adult life, but 16 of those years have been as a college professor. But I've been just kind of in college and academics. But there comes a point where, like, if I ever were like to want to get out of engineering and just work for the college, I would need to have the doctor before my name. That's just the thing. You have to you just it's like a thing that just kind of has to happen. So and it's is it yeah, like canonical work? Yeah, yeah. like in my line, right? In systems engineering and engineering in general, I can always quote this dude right here. This dude will always be quotable right here. Edwards Deming, I can quote him, and you can quote him. If you go all the way back to his 80s stuff, you can still quote him because his stuff, yeah, canonical is like, but it's not. It's I keep wanting to say ecu. It means like foundational, but it's. Oh, god damn it. It's gonna piss me off when I see this word because I'm still kind of working through this fog in my head. Ah, well, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, you can always quote Deming. It doesn't matter how far out it is. You could use Deming because his shit's the foundational work of everything. So even if you go to his stuff, if you go back to something like if they probably quote him in here, and if they do, it's okay because Deming was foundational work. I don't remember what that term is. All right, anyway, so we come down here and we look for these. They got to be alphabetical order. They're using APA formatting too, which is what I use, so that's good. This was also published. a little later, but yeah. I'm not working too hard, no. Here's their multiple linear regressions here. Pay, work, super, and promotions. Hmm. Yeah, so there's the 4 areas. So then here's their hypotheses down here. It's a pretty good p-value for significance. Hmm. I think it's interesting. Hold on, let me go look up here. I could have sworn they started out. Yeah, they started out. Well, I guess their editors don't care. But they started out indenting for each paragraph. But apparently. But not on the first one, apparently. Okay, yeah, I guess so. I guess some standards allow for that. I don't think I like that though. All right. I guess if that's the standard they wanted to go with, that's probably an older APA standard, where the first paragraph can be out. I thought APA 7 everything was indented, but anyways, all right. So yeah, that's interesting. We're not really going too much into it right now, but that's kind of an interesting one. And then we could go back, and then we can just keep burning through different job things that were interesting. VR-based health and safety training in various high-risk engineering industries, and then this one's mostly a literature review. So this one's probably going to give us some interesting stuff. Hold on. Looks like we're just going to have to download it. There we go. Man, this sounds like something one of my guys was working on in one of my earlier classes. He was doing something very similar to VR-based health and safety training. This is a similar type of study to what he was doing. This is just funny. This reminds me of like, you guys ever seen those VR games where the people have all the what's the one that was really scaring the shit out of everybody for a while there? Phasmophobia. Could you imagine like you're doing your VR training and you're like putting some chemical up on the shelf or something, and it spills all over you, and and your guy just like mutates out, and it's like you are dead. That would be that would be no good. Or it starts melting your stuff on your character, and that's what would really happen if you spilled that shit. That wouldn't be any good. That would be like real life phasmophobia, like actual VR training for stuff that you're really doing at work. Well, because they're saying right here it's like health and safety stuff, for traditional health and safety. Anyways, yeah, that's funny to me. I don't. Oh, that is funny. By the way, like here's they have open access. This article is licensed under Creative Commons, so as long as you give them attribution, you can cite it and you can do all that stuff. You can't sell it though. Can't use it for your own reasons or whatever. You're allowed to use this as long as you credit them. Yep. So this is their stuff. We're just looking at it. Perfectly legal for us to look at it. But one of the things I was saying, this is one of the reasons that stuff like this is important, is you find like, okay, this is interesting. They've got cool thing, but maybe this technology and the things they're doing aren't super useful to me for my concept. I wanted to look at training from like a job satisfaction. They're looking at training from like an efficacy and cost by using VR. So like it's interesting. Might even be something I could reference, but here's some of the stuff Han et al. So whoever this Han guy is, we come down here, and maybe he's got some other useful study as we get down to the. Oh, that looks like fun. Come down here to maybe we're in here, and Han, and he's got immersive technology-driven investigation influence factors on cognitive load incurred in construction site hazard recognition, analysis, and decision making. I go, okay, well that might be interesting. So then I go look up his stuff, right? And next thing we know, we're digging into whatever he's doing, right? And accept all cookies, sure. And then we start to see if his stuff is interesting. Oh, and then there's another one of those I got to go log in, Yeah, it's all paywall stuff. It's actually kind of annoying. That's one of the reasons I normally do all my research on Firefox, because that one's logged into my college browser. I'm just on Chrome here, messing around a little bit. But yeah. What we'll probably do though is probably find somebody to go raid, because I'm pretty low energy right now. And yeah, if we can find somebody to raid, then I will be on tomorrow a little bit. We always do our after Friday, after the week's over. Hang out, do a little bit of hanging out, and then normally I do date night with the wife, but she'll be out of town, so I'll just be hanging out with you guys, and then we'll probably get the rest of this stuff putting all together. Yeah, Robe Dom, I'm getting a lot better. It's just taking longer than I'm used to. So, all right, let's go find who are we following? Who's on? Let's go raid Sid. We like raiding Sid, especially late at night, so that'll wake him up a little bit. And looks like he's about to drink some kind of monster or something, or some kind of energy drink, so we'll raid over there. So I appreciate you guys all coming. I will see most of you tomorrow. Remember, we've got that big event on Saturday, and my brother's coming to talk to you guys as well. All right, take care, guys.